Undiscovered murders are rare in London, and the Jack the Ripper crimes are not in that category. So, the question remains after nearly 140 years, who really was Jack the Ripper? Jack the Ripper is one of the most infamous serial killers in all of history, whose identity remains a mystery to this very day. In the late 1800s, he terrorized the streets of Whitechapel by brutally murdering and mutilating at least 5 women. His modus operandi involved targeting prostitutes and carrying out his gruesome acts under the cover of darkness. The case of Jack the Ripper captured public attention like no other. The media sensationalized his crimes, creating an atmosphere of fear and panic throughout all of London. The police's investigation led to widespread criticism and speculation about their ability to catch the killer. Numerous theories have emerged over the years regarding Jack the Ripper's identity. Some believe he was a doctor due to his surgical precision when removing organs from his victims' bodies. Others, however, suggest that he may have been a member of the royal family or a prominent figure in society who used his power and influence to evade capture. But putting our theories and suspects to one side for now, the undoubted truth is that the poor, vulnerable, and innocent Mary Ann Nichols, also known as Polly, came to her untimely end when she met the monster of Whitechapel who lurked within the shadows. On the 31st of August, 1888, at 3:40 a.m, the body of Mary Ann Nichols was discovered by Charles Cross, who was making his way to work when he discovered her body lying in a gateway in Bucks Row. Due to the lack of street lighting, Charles wasn't entirely sure what he had stumbled across at first, and initially believed that the darkened silhouette of Mary's body was some discarded tarpaulin. Charles went to inspect, as he felt this could have been useful for his job as a carman. Once Charles approached closer, he quickly realised that the silhouette was of a woman, and he stopped in his tracks. Moments later, Cross heard footsteps approaching. As he turned, he saw another man by the name of Robert Paul, who was walking towards him. "Come and look over here," Cross called. "There is a woman lying on the pavement." The two men stepped over the road and stooped down over Mary. She was lying on her back, her legs were straight out, and her skirts were raised almost over her waist. Charles Cross reached out and touched her face, which was warm, and her hands, which were cold and limp. "I believe she is dead," he observed. Robert Paul, meanwhile, placed his hand on the woman's chest and thought he felt a slight movement. "I think she's breathing," he said, "but very little if she is." Paul suggested that they sit the woman up, but Cross refused to touch her again. So rather shockingly, the pair decided that they were late for work and had done as much as they possibly could. They pulled her skirts back down to her knees to cover her decency and set off for their places of employment, agreeing to tell the first police officer that they encountered. But what neither man had seemingly noticed was that Mary's throat had been slashed so savagely that, according to some newspaper reports, her head had almost been severed from her own body. The murder of Mary and the sheer brutality of it shocked even Whitechapel, where assaults and gang violence were rife. The autumn of terror had now truly begun, and the killer was just getting started. But were any clues left behind, and was everything truly as it seemed? In the early 2000s, it was discovered that Charles Cross was, in fact, Charles Allen Lechmere, and that Cross had been the surname of his stepfather, a police constable by the name of Thomas Cross. Was the purpose of using the name Cross completely innocent, or was there a more sinister motive at hand? Did Charles genuinely stumble across the body of Mary that morning, or did Robert Paul almost catch the killer red-handed? I will leave you with these questions. Was Mary Ann Nichols truly the first victim of Jack the Ripper? And do you believe that the police should have investigated Charles Cross as a potential suspect? Let me know your thoughts and theories. Jack the Ripper's reign of terror has left an indelible mark upon history. His brutal killings shocked Victorian society and continue to fascinate people today. As long as his identity remains unknown, Jack the Ripper will remain an enigma, forever haunting our collective consciousness as one of history's most notorious killers.